Welcome back to the Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. Today, I welcome Anat to the show where we're going to be talking things around inner child work. We're going to be talking about somatic work and much, much more. So I'm looking forward to this conversation today. So just a quick introduction to Anat. So Anat is an inner child and somatic healing expert with over 20 years of experience in personal growth and leadership. As the founder of Training Camp for the Soul, she certifies coaches in deep nervous system work and guides people to heal their emotional wounds, reconnect with their true self, and embody unshakable confidence from the inside out. So welcome to the show today, Anat, and glad to have you here. So yeah, first of all, so many areas, like I said, I want to dive into today and looking forward to it. But the inner child work that you do with people, what is it? And how did you get into the idea of inner child work?
Yeah, first off, thanks, Johnny, for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Ah, gosh, where to begin with that question? I'll say to me, the inner child is same as saying our emotions. Like if we start to relate to that part of ourselves as the part that holds all of our emotions, the pleasant emotions and the not so pleasant emotions, and that every time you have an emotion arise for you, if you could imagine that little boy or little girl walking into the bedroom and saying, I feel dot, 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 how would you engage with that little one? Would you fire off all these questions like why? Why do you feel that way? Would you, um, run from them, tell them to go away because you don't like this feeling? So I see the inner child as an access to us learning again what it is to embrace ourselves and ourselves being all of our emotions, which is the full spectrum of what it is to be human. Our emotions are just energy in motion. And when they're not expressed, when they're not in motion, they get stuck. And this is where we start feeling uneasy. This is where we go into survival strategies where we don't feel safe to be ourselves anymore, where we create a lot of disconnection from our heart and our true desires. And so to me, the inner child is really the access to your resiliency, your power, and knowing yourself as a creator.
Oh, I love it. That's I like how you said it's kind of like connecting with our emotions, which I've certainly had the experience of like just dismissing it for many, many years of my life. It's like, get on with it. But then when I started thinking about it, it's like dismissing like I've got like if I had I don't have any children, but if I had like a 5-year-old kid or a 3-year-old kid version of me, it's like dismissing that child.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, if we want to really start to improve our self-esteem, which self-esteem is really about self-respect, right? If we want to respect ourselves, esteem ourselves, like have that higher esteem, we need to validate and acknowledge what we're experiencing. Because again, a child walks into a room and says, I'm upset because Susie didn't call me back today, let's say, right? We had a great date. I don't know why she didn't call me back. And you say, get over it, or that's because you're a loser, because nobody likes you, because you're not good looking enough, you're not smart enough. How's that child going to feel? Are they
Mm,
going to feel better? They're going to feel worse. And this is what we don't realize that we unconsciously do to ourselves as adults. And then we wonder why we struggle with confidence and
mm,
self-esteem. It's because we are not validating it and acknowledging what we're experiencing. Sometimes, yeah, you could practice positive self-talk, but that still is just going to what's the word for it? It's going to be I'm stuck on words here today. It's going to invalidate that underneath it there's an experience. We
Mm,
can't always just rush to tell someone like, "Oh, just think positive." I mean, that's going into my story. That was really my childhood. So
mm,
my mother was all about think positive. Like, "Oh, you're fine. It's no big deal. Like, just, let's just go have fun." Everything was just, let's just brush it under the rug and pretend like everything is good and focus on the things that are great. Think positive, she would say. She still says it now, but now I giggle
mm,
at it. And in the moment, it might have felt nice to hear that as opposed to someone, being mean to me. Like like she meant well.
mm,
It came from a good place, but it didn't prepare me to handle when I'm by myself and I'm feeling something that is unpleasant as an emotion that's uncomfortable to me. I didn't know what to do with it. And I would go into like trying to tell myself positive things and think positive. And what it created over years was a lot of anxiety.
mm,
Anytime I was with myself, Johnny, I felt this hollowness in my chest and like a windstorm, like a black hole that you get sucked into and it can never be filled. That was the feeling in my chest. And I've shared this before and had people say, "Oh my God, I can relate." Like, yeah, that's the feeling of this like uh collapse of hopelessness. Like I don't know how to tend to what I'm experiencing right now, but I can't seem to get it to stop. And the anxiety to me, anxiety is not a feeling. It's actually a running from a feeling.
mm,
I'm running from. And I was constantly running from these quote unquote not positive feelings. I was just trying to tell myself to think positive when really what I needed was validation and acknowledgement of what I was experiencing so that I could actually feel it and let it move through me.
mm,
And so years of not letting things move through me, years of anxiety, years of all this stuff getting bottled up inside, and me turning into this person that was very codependent on others to feel better. I couldn't be by myself. I needed to be around other people to feel better. I needed to always talk and talk and talk. That became my way to think I was processing my emotions by talking about feeling instead of actually feeling the feelings. And, you know, people wouldn't want to hang out with me or relationships with men never lasted because it was a lot. It's like
mm,
carrying someone else's, crying, stinky baby.
mm, mm. So to move away from, and there's a couple of things I really want to touch on there. Like with the positive thinking, I totally can relate to that, and similar sort of family patterns there. With, yeah, but for me, like what I'm getting from there was like the positive thinking's almost like, oh, I'm invalidating my own feelings. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's like invalidating a child's feelings, whilst actually feeling what you're feeling is like validate, and acknowledging that feeling is validating the child's feelings. I've all like I don't know for you, but I've also been able to hold other people's emotions and space a lot better since I've been able to hold mine as well, because
Of course.
I didn't used to be able to do that at all. And there's a lot of people I go to and like just share stuff with, and they can't hold that space because they're doing that whole kind of brushing their own feelings away. So it's so interesting.
Exactly. So they don't have room, they don't have capacity. And here's why. Here's actually what's happening when we do that. Your nervous system then has to put you into a protective bubble, as I like to call it, right? Your nervous system is always working for you. It's listening for safety or threat. When it senses safety, It learns and it metabolizes whatever's happening, and we expand. When it senses threat, it puts us into a sympathetic state: fight, flight, freeze, or please. So my tendency was to flight, right? To run away, or to please and appease were like my go-tos. And it's busy doing that. And so you're using your nervous system to be in this overdrive of a protective mode, so to speak. And it's not metabolizing and discharging anything. It's literally defending and protecting you from it. So you're in this heightened state. So then you go around other people who are dealing with their stuff and they're talking about it. Of course, you can't handle it. You're maxed out. You're trying to handle your own. So that's what you're speaking to here. Whereas opposed to when we learn or relearn to actually feel our feelings, or as I like to say it, to ride the waves in the ocean of our emotions, we don't get smacked with waves anymore. We come back to shore. We could be with people. We could have more capacity. And what's happening is you're also then you're retraining your nervous system to be familiar with these different energies, these different frequencies that to one person may feel to one person may feel pleasant and easy to navigate, and to the other person may feel uncomfortable. Some people are comfortable with sadness. Some people are comfortable with anger. Some aren't. Oh, which one's right? It's not about right or wrong, good or bad. It's about expanding our capacity to know that they're all just sensations and energy moving through our body. And we've desensitized our nervous system, we've weakened it. And so when we learn to express it again, we strengthen the nervous system to handle more. So, kind of like programming data into the computer so that next time this virus tries to invade, the computer just knows what to do and handle it. You don't have to do anything. It's the same thing. It's not like you're never going to feel these feelings again. It's that when you feel them, your nervous system is going to be able to handle it, metabolize it, know that it's safe to be with quicker
Mm.
than your thoughts. They say your nervous system responds in zero point 0.2 seconds. Your conscious mind responds in 2 seconds. So 10 times faster, which is why, if you're driving in a car and somebody slams on the brake and you're able to respond with slamming on your brake and not
Mm.
getting into an accident, that's because it's programmed into your nervous system. I mean, thank God for that. But that's the challenge with positive thinking is that you can have all the best intentions, but what's programmed into the nervous system is what's going to determine the outcome.
Mm. So, what for you helps work with the nervous system? What are there any particular favorite tools you've got for kind of working with the nervous system?
Yes, yes, absolutely. First and foremost, the most basic beginner point anybody needs, every single person needs to do is learn to work with our breath.
Mm.
Our breath, the way we breathe, is the first indicator to our nervous system if we feel safe or not. So we get to cultivate safety, as I call it. And I have a free meditation, guided meditation on my website to build that capacity again for safety. A lot of people hold their breath, don't even realize it, or shallow breathe, or breathe into their chest. So taking time to intentionally breathe in a way that's going to downregulate our nervous system so that we can actually tune into what's going on, what's happening in our system.
Mm.
So that's the first is that. is taking these deep breaths. Doing what's called box breathing could be great, which is a 4 count breath, right? Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Adding vagal toning on the exhale, making sounds like voo like Victor. Because when you do that, there's a vibration that's happening inside of you, which is
Mm.
like giving your nervous system a massage. How do you feel when you get a massage? You feel more relaxed, right? So it's a way to give yourself that internal massage and calm our systems down so that we can actually hear what's happening. So that's the first step. The second is learning to work with our nervous system. So letting it know, not just from breath, but in whatever we're experiencing, that it's actually safe. So when an emotion arises, when you're triggered by something, if you take a few moments and actually breathe, that's the focus, not to react, not to think, not to do anything but the breath. So it slows us down that we can then tune into what's happening. Well, what is happening? What sensations am I noticing in my body? Is there a tightness in my chest or like a ball in my throat? And what's the temperature I'm experiencing? What's the size of this sensation? The reason for this is that sensations are the language of the nervous system. So when we speak in sensations, we're speaking to our nervous system in a neutral way, not good or bad, just very much what we're noticing. Like, oh, there's a tightness in my chest. It's heavy. It's the size of a fist. It's moving. It seems to have like a dark color to it. Whatever way you can name it. When you're doing that, you're using the part of your brain that is um that is moving you more into a neutral place of safety versus reactivity. And so, right there, you're also calming your nervous system
Mm.
in that moment. And you're signaling to it, hey, let's get curious here. You know, let's say there's something behind door number 2, right? If you're thinking what's behind door number 2 is, is a tiger, you're not going to open that door. And a lot of times we're reacting that way with our emotions. Like, oh my God, why am I feeling this way? Right? Instead, it's like, oh, what am I feeling? Let me take a few breaths.
Mm.
What am I noticing? Let me get curious. So, naming sensations takes curiosity. Does it have a size, a temperature, color, texture, a weight to it? Is it moving? Is it still? All that is curiosity. Curiosity is like saying, hey, let's look behind door number 2. I'm okay opening the door. And you're saying, hey, let's look with me behind door number 2. So right there, this is setting the foundation for working with your nervous system so it doesn't just go into that protective state.
Mm.
Now it's okay, let's metabolize what's happening behind door number 2. What am I actually feeling? And Johnny, this is the other challenge I find a lot of people have is that their emotional vocabulary is very limited. I'm upset. I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm anxious. I'm annoyed. I'm afraid. That's kind of it. I'm happy. I'm horny, right? That's about it. And if you're going to express an emotion, if you're going to connect to the energy of it, there's a difference between I'm sad and I'm discouraged
Mm.
and I'm disheartened, right? There'd be a slight difference in how you would feel it, connect to it, express it. And so very valuable and important to be able to name what the emotion is. And so I use something that anybody can look up right now. You can just Google mood meter, and it's going to pull up this chart that has 100 or so different emotions. It's from Yale University for Emotional Intelligence, and it's designed to expand our emotional vocabulary. So initially, you may think, I feel sad. And then you look at the mood meter and you're like, you find sad on there, and you actually see that there's other ones around it, like disheartened, lonely, discouraged, disappointed. So it's like, oh, actually, that's more accurate. So right there, you're getting even more connected because there's accuracy there.
Mm, I love that.
And then it's about learning how to express it again. And this is easy, but something that's going to feel unfamiliar to us adults. Have you ever been around a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old when
Yeah.
they are expressing a feeling?
Yeah.
What do you see, Johnny?
Yeah, it's the it's if they're upset, it might be screaming, might be crying. If they're happy, it might be like giggles and running around. Just there's no limit, there's no holding back on that child.
Yeah, they're fully expressed.
Mm.
They're animated. And to summarize what you would see, no matter what emotion they're expressing, you would see body language, some kind of body movement, some facial expression, and some sound that they would emote. So they wouldn't just come over to you and say, I'm sad right now. It would be expressed, it would be acted out. And this is where we have lost connection to feeling a feeling. We've suppressed instead of expressed. And so, what is it to now, as an adult? Okay, you've connected with your nervous system, you've done the breath work, you've identified on the mood meter what you actually feel. Now, what do I do with it or not? You pretend that you're a 3-year-old and you express it the way they would express it. Or you imagine that you are an actor that's going that wants to get the role for this movie. What's the difference between all the actors that try out? They all have the same lines that they're going to read, same exact lines. It's their ability to act it out, to express it, to emote it. And so this is what there is to do to move through it, is to express it for 90 seconds.
Mm.
That's it. Just 90 seconds, which, by the way, for an adult who's used to suppressing, is going to feel like a really long time. Because we maybe give ourselves 2 to 3 to 4 seconds to feel or express something before we shut it down, intellectualize it, stuff it, judge it, whatever. And so 90 seconds is going to feel like a lot. But there was a Harvard trained neuroscientist, Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor, that did a study that you could move through an emotion in 90 seconds if you're not judging it, running from it, suppressing it. And really, if you watch a child that is given permission to feel what they're feeling, to express it, and you track the time, it'll be about 90 seconds or less.
Mm.
And this is what I've done with my clients for years. Is just, okay, this is what you're feeling. Let's honor it. Let's validate. Let's acknowledge this part, this energy. Set a timer, 90 seconds, and I invite them to pretend that they're an actor and act it out. Like, really imagine the body language, the facial expression, the sound that you would emote if you were feeling discouraged,
Mm.
if you were feeling excited, right? Whatever it is, which again is why it's so crucial to get clear on what is the emotion. Is it sad or is it disappointed? Because you're going to move your body a little bit differently. You might make a little bit different of a sound or facial expression. And so in those 90 seconds, you're letting that you're letting that emotion take up space. You're letting that energy be so expressed that it's training your nervous system for what it feels like again to express that emotion. And then what happens over time is you go from it being uncomfortable, like, oh, it's so uncomfortable. I don't like to feel that, to normal, to your nervous system metabolizing it in 2 seconds. You don't even you don't even think about it anymore.
Mm,
You
true.
just you're training it and you become more and more resilient. So something that might have, because again, nervous system feels it in 2 seconds, conscious awareness in 0.2 seconds, sorry, conscious awareness in 2 seconds. So how many times throughout the day do you want to be hijacked? Do you want your presence to lose presence because you got hijacked by an emotion?
Mm,
And so as we train it more and more, we become so resilient that we could stay present, whether that's in a conversation, in a debate, in a fight, in dealing with, your 5-year-old child or whatever it is, that you can stay in your heart, you could stay present as your higher self because your nervous system knows that this energy is safe and it just metabolizes it and discharges it. Just moves through. It moves through. It moves through.
mm. I love that. I just wondered about like the expression, like, and I like what you said about like the 90 seconds, not suppressing it, expressing as a human being that we're meant to do, not suppress. Um, just wonder if you got maybe there's an adult and they've got like they've been holding on to like they've been suppressing for a very long time. Maybe they discover someone like yourself or someone similar, and they're like, right, I've got a lot of like anger, and they're like they realize that, and then they start processing it and allowing themselves to feel it for like the 90 seconds. Maybe something comes up. Do you feel like at the start they might have to do it multiple times a day or just constantly until it reduces, or is that kind of 90 seconds allow them to really get down to the baseline? Because I know we're in a society where it's like that instant gratification, it's like but sometimes it might take a bit of time to
Yeah.
train. Just wanted to get your steer on that, really.
Yeah. I love that you asked this question because what I just explained a few minutes ago is just like, okay, here's the tool. But yes, it depends on a lot of things. So I'll give you a metaphor here. If you are learning to surf, you've never surfed before in your life. Are you going to go to Bali and get into those big kahuna waves
No.
for your first time? No. You're going to start with the little baby waves. And so when we're talking about suppressed emotions that have been suppressed for months, years, maybe decades, right? That have led that maybe are from our childhood, maybe it's trauma, maybe it's just unmet needs that weren't there. Um, you can't just jump into something like that and think that you'll move through it in 90 seconds. There's layers and there's a healthy place to start. And you want to start with what I call, and this is where a lot of the inner child work and reparenting work comes in. You want to learn how to mother yourself, how to reparent the mother in you. What you always needed and wanted from mom, which for all of us was nurturance, safety, unconditional love. We have to learn how to hold ourselves in that, how to validate and acknowledge that. And so whatever emotion comes up for you, it's said differently. It's like you have to build your nervous system's capacity, right? So you may start with something smaller, or if you are ready for that anger, you're in the ocean of your emotions, and the wave of anger comes up. Does one wave always bring a surfer back to shore?
No.
No, sometimes you ride the wave, but it dissipates before you get to shore. And then there's another wave and another wave. So it is also common that underneath, for example, that anger is sadness,
Mm.
is grief,
Often. Yeah.
is, yeah, disappointment, um, other emotions. And so there's to ride whatever wave until you feel that you have come back to shore, so to speak.
Mm.
But there's also to be mindful that if you're going to start somewhere, you start with what I said, mom. Mom is an extension of self. Mom is your role model for the self. Everything about yourself you learned from mom. How to talk to yourself, treat yourself, see yourself, love yourself, listen to yourself. And she modeled this by what you saw, heard, or felt from her, either how she felt about herself or how she made you feel. And you either copied or you did the opposite. You rebelled. And so a lot of times what I see now is that um, people, if mom was harsh, was hard on you, you might see that that's exactly how you talk to yourself, how you mother yourself. And so if you're going to explore healing on your own, which I don't recommend in the beginning, better to hire a coach who's
Mm.
trained in this. Um, but if you are going to embark on this journey yourself, to start with your relationship to yourself, with nothing that's related to others, to your career, to the world, to anything external, but more of how do I talk to myself? Um, what are my boundaries with myself? Do I know what my needs are? Do I give myself what I need? Do I honor that? Can I say, I know I have a lot to do, but today I'm exhausted. So instead of tackling my to-do list, I'm going to rest, to really reflect on your relationship with yourself. Those are what I call, Johnny, smaller waves in the ocean.
Mm. I love that.
And the reason is that mom represents the womb, the nurturance, the self, something that we have more connection and control over in reparenting. And father represents everything that's not the self. Father represents the world, others. Father represents the heart. Father is actually the first love of your life. When your dad held you for the very first time, I imagine for most dads, they were experiencing ecstasy times 100. Maybe a little bit of fear there too, and a lot of pride because it becomes real for them. Yeah, they see the belly grow, they hear the kicks, all that. But the second they hold their son or daughter, it's like, it's real. Oh my God. And I created this. There's some pride, there's excitement, there's love there. There's a very high energy of emotions flowing through them. And it's not the same as the energy of mom, which a baby feels growing over the course of 9, 10 months in the womb. And so the very first time that mom or that dad holds you, there's this intense high frequency energy that you feel. And it's the first time that you're feeling it from something outside of you
Mm.
because you don't see mom as separate. See, mom is an extension. You were connected by the umbilical cord. So in that moment, what happens is that dad becomes your world. It becomes your first experience of something that's external, that's not you, that is sending this high frequency of love. And he becomes love for you and a representation of your heart. And so your role model then for everything that's not the self. for how you relate to others, the world, what's possible in relationship with others, out in the world, in career. And so, in my experience of thousands of sessions with clients, is where I share all this information from. When we start to address unlearning what we learned from dad, healing the things that we expected, that we needed, that we didn't get from father, it is heartbreaking
Mm.
because dad was the first love of my life. We hold daddy on a pedestal, and he does one of two things from that initial day where we put him on that pedestal. He either lives up to it, or for most of us, he breaks our heart. And we don't feel that until we heal it. And these are the bigger waves. And so when my clients and students get to this point in their healing journey of being ready to face others and the things that they learned, it's more emotional. It's quote unquote bigger waves, right? In the ocean of our emotions. And you won't be able to fully move through it or handle it if you haven't learned to stabilize those smaller waves, right?
Mm.
Said differently, if your relationship to yourself isn't intact yet, if you are still judging yourself and dismissing yourself and not holding yourself through little emotions, how the heck do you think you're going to handle these big ones? You're
Mm.
not. It's going to be too much. And so there is an order and a process that is safe and effective to heal and to experience lasting transformation. And like that's the journey that I teach. That's the journey I take my clients on. So, but anyone that's like, if you're reflecting on yourself, and I know, Johnny, you've been on this healing journey for at least a hot minute, that you could probably see that. See, like, if you've struggled with why can't I forgive my father, or why can't I get over this past relationship, or why am I still struggling with things out in the world externally that I want to control, that I want to change, but I can't? Look at your foundation of your relationship with yourself first.
Mm. Yeah, that's that's why we're in the community with teachers like you and and Daniel, and of course Danny to help us guide that. So I highly, yeah, that's why I highly recommend finding teachers, finding coaches as much as possible. And I'm very much in it, but like I've hired many coaches over the years, and yeah, doing it alone is definitely a lot more challenging than if you've got someone guiding you.
Yeah. Yes. And I still like to teach people, like, here's how to ride the wave,
Mm.
because life isn't just about, healing from our past. And some of us had, you know, pretty good childhoods that may not be smacking us in the face right now. But in this moment, you're faced, no matter what age you are, with opportunities for growth, taking certain risks, right? Meeting certain opportunities, asking a girl out on a date, or saying yes to being in a relationship with someone, or taking on a new business venture, right? And we're also faced with challenges, which is, financial challenges, or going from being uh, a married couple to having a newborn baby, or losing a loved one, or having a sick parent, or losing a pet. So life is going to keep handing you challenges and opportunities that create waves in the ocean of your emotions.
Mm.
And in those moments, I invite you to see if you could practice riding the waves.
Mm.
And if you can't, and it's too much, then start with your nervous system, start regulating it. And if you know that a lot of what's holding you back is past experiences, limiting beliefs, your childhood, then you got to clear that stuff. You can't plant seeds. You could have all the best intention to plant seeds in the garden of your life. But if there's weeds there with deep roots that, by the way, aren't even yours, they could be generations back
Mm,
of inherited patterns and behaviors and learnings. You got to clear that out and make room
mm,
so that then you could actually implement who you are and what you want. And you'll know yourself then as a creator of your life as opposed to someone that is just surviving what they learned and experienced.
mm. I love it in that. No. Some great guidance there on the waves and riding the waves and pulling out some of those weeds that, yeah, like you said, maybe generational and not even yours. So yeah, just in terms of, obviously you've given us loads today, but in terms of further resources and maybe reaching out to you, connecting with you and what you've got going on at the moment, where can the listener find you? I know you've got lots of resources available. And is there maybe a final point you want to share with us today, whether it's something we've talked about or something you just wanted to add?
Sure. So I hang out on Instagram. It's where I put out content. And if you follow me there, you will get a DM for me within a week because I love getting to know the human behind the follower and really seeing, how I can support you, whether it's a resource, a referral, or something I myself have to offer, or just, a note of wisdom. So you can follow me on there. And then also my website, trainingcampforthesoul.com. I focus predominantly on mentoring and training others that want to step into coaching through my certification program. But I do also have my foundational inner child healing program, the Soul Collective. So those that want to be guided and supported through the journey of unlearning what they learned from mom and from dad and really, discovering their own true, authentic, highest self. It's available there too. And some free resources on there as well. So, and then if I were to leave everyone, with one thing, in this day and age, I mean, thank you, Johnny, for the work that you do, for putting out this podcast, for doing the podcasting, because we're so blessed. This wasn't available 20 years ago. I just got an email this morning from Apple saying it's their like 20-year anniversary of podcasting. So it's like, 20, 30, 40 years ago, like our parents didn't have the resources that we have today, the
Mm,
opportunity to get coached on Zoom by someone on the other side of the world, right? To hop on podcasts, to know about all these different modalities. They didn't, maybe there was a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist, a witch doctor. That's about it. And so we inherited what we inherited, and our parents did the best they could based on what was available to them then. Everything's available to us now. It is our duty, our responsibility to take it on like our life depends on it, the life that we want, the life that we desire for this planet, for our children or future children, and uh, that we end this generational trauma, that we put an end to the wars, to the way the world is right now, and that we really tap into our superpowers. And so, anybody that's listening, just do your part in that because all the resources are available to you from, the free stuff to the high end stuff. We just have no excuses anymore. We can't make the excuses. We have to really choose to be the one to make the change, to be the change that we want to see in the world. And yeah, so that's my last bit. And to just remember that the only way to feel better is to get better at feeling.
I love that. Any way to get better is to get better at feeding. So thank you, Anat, for coming on today. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Johnny, for having me. Thanks, listeners, for tuning in.
Awesome. So that concludes our episode for today. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.